Welcome back to the Fishing Doctor's Adventures. I'm your host Brandon. So it's been a while since we've been up here at Big Bear Lake. Back again. It's October 14th, 2014, and we're doing a little bit of rainbow trout fishing from shore. We're out here. A lot of guys ask me where's a good spot to go. So Juniper Point is actually a really great spot in the springtime and through the fall and winter time. I like to use Berkeley chunky cheese in the garlic flavor. How I rig it is how I've showed in previous videos, with a sliding egg sinker, barrel swivel, and a size 16 treble hook. If you're not catching anything, oh, we got a bite here. You got a bite here? Let me interrupt this explanation of fishing to catch this fish. There he is. Well, we missed that one. They're biting really light this evening. So where was I? Back to the leader length. Make sure you vary your leader length while fishing. If you're not getting any bites, change the leader length. You know, I usually like to start around 18 to 24 inches as I go to length, but that doesn't always work. Sometimes you have to go longer, up to 4 feet in the middle of the summer, and go shorter in the winter time, down to 8 to 12 inches, which might work a lot better in the fall and winter time. I got one on here. Finally hooked up on one on camera. A little bit more decent fish. One of the guys who fishes the area told me that they're biting on a shorter leader, so I put on a 12-inch leader on this one. And that's actually what he hit on. The 12-inch leader. That's why it's really good to put different sizes of leaders on when you're fishing. This is a more decent fish than the last one I caught. Last one was just a little guy. Let's see this one. It's coming in through the weeds. It's a fat one. So since I might not be fishing Big Bear Lake much longer, I thought I'd give you a few tips. Now, the fish usually like to, go out deeper in the middle of the day when the sun is higher, so you can cast your hook out a little bit further. But in the evening and early morning, the fish are cruising along the shore and shallower, along these weed edges. So don't long bomb that hook way out there, because you might just be sitting and all the fish will be swimming inside of your hook. Just cast it, 30 yards, 20-30 yards offshore, just on the other side of that weed line, and you might be into more fish. So let me explain something to you about oxygen and water temperatures during the year at Big Bear Lake. The fishing and the locations of fishing really changes throughout the year, and if you don't follow the fish, you won't be catching them. In the fall, winter, and springtime, you can catch a lot of the fish and some of the bigger fish over at the east end of the lake. I like to fish at Juniper Point, down at the east jetty, and down along the east side past the launch. Also that Stanfield cutoff, which you can see in the back. That's actually the land bridge across the lake at the east side. A lot of people do well fishing off there. Now, as the oxygen level drops in the summertime, the fish push towards the dam, the deeper side of the lake, where they also aerate the lake. Give that a try in the summertime once the fish move that way. I like fishing off the dam with slip floats, usually down 15 to 20 feet. The fish will stack up there as the oxygen levels decrease in the lake. Now, why do you find the fish down 15 to 20 feet over 60 feet of water? Well, there's something called a thermocline, and this is where the highest concentration of oxygen and the temperature that the fish will likely be at is where that thermocline forms. So if you use a slip bobber, you'll be able to put that lure in that zone of the thermocline where most of the fish are swimming at. In the springtime, a lot of the fish are still down there at that end because there's some current down there, there's some rivers moving in, and spawning time is coming. So during the spawning time, you want to fish those creek areas where water's moving in, and also by the dam. All that wind pushing water up there creates a current in that area, and the fish like to come into the dam area to check out for a spawning bed. Now, they don't really find an area to spawn around there, but you can hook up on them while they're looking. Oh, look at this! Got one. Oh yeah, we got one! Oh, did he get off? He's a real tiny one. There we go, we got a little guy. Oh, it got me in the weeds. Come on. Oh, it's a little guy. There we go, a little tiny rainbow, so I'll let this guy go. Okay, so back to my big bear tips while waiting for another bite. In the springtime, when you're fishing by the dam, usually in the early morning, the best presentation is a jig, a mini jig. Usually the white and yellow ones work best. The trout teasers, or actually the lip rippers, those will work great. If you tip it with a half a mealworm or a whole mealworm, it adds a little bit of extra weight and a little bit of scent, which will actually increase your odds of hooking up on a fish. Once the sun starts to rise up a little higher, you might need to go to a slip float, and the best bait is usually a night crawler. I usually pinch off about 1.5 inches of night crawler, put it on a single hook, and cast it out, generally 10 feet to 12 feet down below the float. Cast it out there into the middle and you'll be doing well. But as things heat up and the summer gets going on, the fish are going to start moving towards the dam. During the summer, try heading down towards the dam from the observatory towards the dam. If you're fishing on the north side, use a longer leader, 3 to 4 feet of line to that treble hook. If you're able to, the best possible fishing from about June through August is out on a boat. Get out on a boat, any kind of thing that'll float. Float tube, kayak, out with one of the guides. Just get out there and have a blast. You can troll around using lures like spoons, little crankbaits like rapulas. The jointed ones work great. Or you can use a slip bobber, which I still think is the one that you'll catch the most fish on. Put a slip float on with 15 feet of line out there, 15 to 20 feet of line out, and just drift with the wind. Start down in the middle of the lake, drift down, and you'll be hooking up on fish all day long. It's a lot of fun, so if you ever get a chance to be out on the boat in summertime, Big Bear's the place to be. For more details on the techniques I was explaining in this video, see my other videos on rigging a slip float, on fishing with power bait with a slip rig, and jig fishing Big Bear Lake. Check them out and you'll get some more tips on how to use these techniques out here on the water.